Hello people, today we are reviewing the Upgrade Aquatic mod by the Abnormals team. This mod is fairly small, so it shouldn't take too long to get through it, but I do apologise for the time it's actually taken to get this out, because I was originally going to be doing Ice and Fire, but I needed to script it really badly, which would have taken much longer, so I have decided to delay it slightly. Also, we are really close to 200 subscribers, so if you do enjoy, I'd highly appreciate it if you subscribed. Anyway, let's get on with the review. So, first of all, let's start with mobs, and here we have the fan favourite Glow Squid. Now, obviously this isn't a fan favourite because it was voted in at Minecon last year, and there's a lot of controversy surrounding it, but it has been added to this mod, and it can be found in underwater ravines and frozen oceans, and it will drop its ink sac here, which we can see the glowing ink sac, and it can also be bucketed. Now, this ink sac actually opens up some new crafting recipes for us, which is the Luminous Prismarine, which looks really cool. We have the blocks, the stairs, and the slabs that come with the set, so this will actually glow at night. If I go and set it to, nighttime now, you will see that it will be able to glow quite nicely in the night like this. Just a nice little aura coming off of it, and I think that's a really nice addition that adds to the bit of ambience that we've got going on here. So that is the Glow Squid. Next up, this mod has actually decided to make the Nautilus Shell actually obtainable from a mob. So instead of the drowned, we will now find the Nautilus swimming about in warm oceans, and it will drop its shell, as we can see here, and it can also be bucketed. So nice little addition here, and of course, these can be found in pretty much every ocean biome, every warm ocean biome apart from your frozen oceans and stuff like that. But yeah, that's it for the Nautilus really. Next up we have the Thrasher, which is a really interesting mob, and it's hostile, which takes a really good beating. Found in underwater ravines and frozen oceans, they will grab you with their teeth and they will murder you, so don't get too close. The best strategy for this guy is really to snipe them from afar. They will drop their teeth, allowing us to craft some new tooth blocks, tooth lanterns, and a trident. As we can see over here, here are the tooth blocks and crafted from these teeth here. And here is also the new tooth lantern, crafted with 2 Thrasher teeth and 1 prismarine crystal. And here's also the trident I was talking about just a second ago, which is crafted with 2 prismarine rods and 3 Thrasher tooth. Now, the prismarine rod, as we can see if we open up the inventory, is just crafted with 2 prismarine shards, and that will give you 1. Or you can take yourself a prismarine rod bundle, and that will give you 9 prismarine rods. And the prismarine rod bundle is crafted just with the 9 prismarine rods, which is a nice new block. But that is pretty much it for the Thrasher. It is nice that we do get a nice new recipe for the Trident instead of farming drowns. So enough of those farming all those drowns, it's onto Thrashers now. And next to the Thrasher, we also have the Great Thrasher, which is really powerful. I do not recommend taking this on early game. It can also be found in frozen oceans alongside the Thrasher, but is significantly more uncommon. But I wouldn't bother going for this guy, to be honest, because he does drop the teeth, but and more of them. But not worth killing this guy just for those teeth, to be honest. He is a very powerful mob, but does look very cool, and I do love the texturing and the detail on this guy. Following hostile mobs, we have a couple of new fish. We have the Lionfish, the Perch, and the Pike, and these will all be found in any kind of, watery body at all, like rivers, ponds, lakes, oceans, anything really. And these will all drop their fish counterparts, which could be cooked up into different foods. So we have the cooked lionfish, the cooked perch, and of course the cooked pike as well. The cooked pike will actually act a little bit hostile towards some, some other fishies, and will also be holding things in its mouth, a bit like a fox, which I think is really cool. So in this case, we've got it holding a pair of leather boots, which I think is quite cute to see. But they will be found holding some items throughout the waters. On from these new fish, the lionfish actually does have quite an interesting feature. So if we go and we take our lionfish and we pop it into a brewing stand, we're going to see that we're going to get a potion of repellent. Now of course this does become in the this does actually come in the 3 different forms. So the normal one, which we have here, the splash, and the lingering. And when we go and take this and we walk up to a mob, we're going to see that it's actually going to inflict the poison debuff on them. So if we drink this up and we jump over this wall and touch this cow, we're going to see that he is indeed inflicted with poison, and we'll start running about like that. Now similarly, if we go and deactivate this buff with the milk bucket here, and we go over to the next potion that involves lionfish, if we then take our potion of repellence and a fermented spider eye, pop that in a brewing stand, we will get a potion of vibing, which I think is quite a funny name. And if we actually walk up to a cow, or any other mob for that matter, with this on and we make contact with them, it's going to inflict regeneration on them. So this is a really nice thing actually. It is automatic regeneration with every mob you come into contact with. Very useful against undead enemies if you want to deal some damage to them, since the reverse is for undead enemies. So that is a nice cool little thing to see with the potions, and a nice use for the lionfish. The last mob that we have to go over is actually one that's not found, in the wild. It's the flare. Now the flare we have to actually create ourselves. Now in order to do this, we're going to need a phantom, which we have here, very nice. We're going to need to craft a couple potions first. So first of all, we're going to need to craft ourselves a restfulness potion, and this is made with combining cocoa beans into a brewing stand. That's going to give us the restfulness potion. If we then come over to the brewing stand again, and we combine our restfulness potion with a fermented spider eye, we're going to get ourselves a potion of insomnia. Now you're going to want the splash potion of insomnia for this, because that is what we're going to be needing for the flare to come about. And also get yourself a splash potion of restfulness as well, so we can see the reverse side of this. So if we walk into our little chamber here with the phantom, if we go in and splash this guy with a potion of insomnia, like so, we're going to see that he then turns into the flare. Very, very, very cool sprite. Now, apart from the fact that this will not burn in sunlight, the flare actually behaves exactly the same way as the phantom. Now, if we go and take the splash potion of restfulness, however, and splash him with that, he's going to turn himself back into a phantom. But if he is already a phantom and you splash him with the restfulness, you're going to see it's actually going to insta-kill him. Like that. Now, the same will work for the insomnia. If you splash an insomnia potion on a flare, it will instantly kill them. So that is a nice quick way to get rid of phantoms, because we all know how much of a pain they are. So this mod does add in a nice way to get rid of them quite quickly. Now with these new potions, if you craft the lingering form, we can actually craft arrows for these. So instead of actually trying to splash the flare or the phantom with the potion, you can instead just shoot them from afar, which is much handier really. So all we do for this is of course take our lingering potion of restfulness, surround it with 8 arrows, and that will give us 8 arrow of restfulnesses. Over here again we of course have the arrow of insomnia, which is crafted with 1 lingering potion of insomnia, surrounded by 8 arrows, and we do get 8 arrows of insomnia, which is really, really cool. And that is pretty much it for all the mob stuff. Next up, onto flowers and plants and stuff. This is the flowering rush, which can be found sitting in water near beaches, and this is actually quite a nice animation here with the waving in the wind, but it can actually be used to craft pink dye. This is a nice little convenient way to get it instead of combining it with getting your red and your white dyes and stuff, so that's a nice little thing. On from Flowering Rush, however, we now have the Sea Rocket, and it comes in 2 forms, pink and white, and is found just in sand, generally near water bodies. This is kind of similar to the Flowering Rush over here, but because we've got 2 variants, we can craft 2 dyes. So the pink Sea Rocket will get you some pink dye, and the white Sea Rocket will give you some white dye, which is nice to see. Second to last, we have beach grass, which can be found coincidentally on beaches, and will come in 2 forms, the long beach grass and the short beach grass. And I just love the texture of this. It looks super, super natural and super, detailed and stuff, and I really, really do like it. Very, very dense. And with this stuff, we can craft ourselves thatch blocks, which I think would really look good on a medieval sort of home. You see, with old medieval buildings used to have thatch roofs, and I think this would go extremely well with that kind of style of building. So definitely, if there's any builders out there, you might want to, keep your eyes on this sort of stuff. But yeah, that is the beach grass. Last but not least, we have the pink and blue pickleweed. These can be found in shallow waters, in bodies of water, which you can't really see. If you jump inside them or walking towards them, they will slow you down like cobwebs, which is could be annoying if you're trying to get away from a Thrasher, for example. But yeah, it's kind of clever to see. You can maybe set up some traps with that, since it's so kind of more difficult to see. But with this, we can actually get ourselves a couple of new food sources. So here we have the blue pickleweed and we have the purple pickleweed, and this can be combined in a furnace to give us the boils variants. And these will actually restore bubbles of water while underwater, which is quite an interesting thing and could be very, very useful if you're doing any deep sea exploration or looking for any of those great Thrashers that we were talking about earlier. With this, we can also craft some new blocks. So here we have the normal variants and the boiled variants here, which is a nice little, decorative bundle of pickleweeds. Now on to blocks. Starting off, we have driftwood, which is found floating in shallow waters near beaches and the oceans. It can be harvested and crafted into these lovely new blocks, which I really, really like. Excuse this little texture error here, that's just from the pack I'm using, not loading it correctly. When you have it, it won't be like this, but yeah, really nice new set here. It even comes equipped with a new boat as well, which I like to see. On from that, we have Riverwood. Now, Riverwood can be obtained from this tree here, which is the Riverwood tree, and this can be found just sitting on the banks of rivers. It can be crafted into some really, really nice coloured blocks, as well with a new boat, and of course, ignore this texture from I was telling you about, it's just the pack. I really like the stripped variant here. I think it's a really nice, smooth looking block, so that is definitely a favourite. But that is not all we can get from the Riverwood. We now have, from Riverwood trees, we can get ourselves some mulberries, which is used to craft some Mulberry Jam Blocks and a few new food items. The Mulberry Jam Blocks look a bit like slime blocks, and when you jump in them, you're going to see that you're going to fall through them, which is basically the same as cobwebs, but it's really nice and acts as a really good hiding spot. So if you're ever playing hide and seek with friends, definitely use this block as your hiding spot, because it's pretty much impossible to see me right now. But the food sources are quite simple to craft. If we can get out the jam, here we have the Mulberry Jam Bottle, and this is crafted by taking your bottle, 1 mulberry and 1 piece of sugar, and this is used in both these crafting recipes. First of all, we have the mulberry bread, which is crafted with 1 bread and 1 mulberry jam bottle, and we also have the mulberry pie, which is crafted with 1 mulberry, 1 sugar and 1 egg. So these are the two food sources, which I think is really nice to add some, just variation to Minecraft's food. With Squid, we can now craft a couple of, new turtle-themed blocks here, which I really like. I especially like the bricks over here. I think these look really nice. They actually resemble the turtle shell quite well, and I think they look really, really nice. And second to last, we have some new kelp blocks. So here we have the normal kelp, we have the tongue kelp, thorny kelp, ochre kelp and polar kelp. Now these four here, the tongue through to polar, I don't believe are obtainable in survival yet, but they should be when the creators implement them in future updates, so definitely keep an eye out for them. But with these new kelps, we can actually craft ourselves a few new sets of blocks. We have some some cobblestone, kelpie cobblestone and kelpie stone bricks, and also the kelp blocks here. And this is the same with all the others. So here we have the tongue kelp variants, we have the thorny kelp variants here, the ochre kelps, and the polar kelp, which is my favourite. I just love the colours in this one. And that is all of the kelp blocks there, which are really nice and colourful. Lastly, we have, of course, some new coral blocks, and these are all found just in the coral reef biomes, alongside your vanilla ones. We have quite a few here. We have the Prismarine, we have the Akin coral block, the finger coral block, the star coral block, the moss coral block, the pestle coral block, the branch, the rock coral, the pillow coral, the silk coral, sorry, and the Asin and the chrome coral block. So that is quite nice to see, and we also of course have all the different coral fans and variants like that, which is really, really cool. If you're lucky and you find yourself in an underwater ravine, you may be able to find a new special coral, which is called the shower. And I think this looks amazing. It emits these really nice particles, which is excellent for some underwater ambience if you're aiming to add that into aquariums or whatnot. But quite a rare one, so definitely keep an eye on it. But if you do find it, it is a nice little addition. And lastly for blocks, we have the coral stone block. Now if you actually take yourself some 8 stone and 1 Nautilus shell, you'll see that we get ourselves coral stone. And this can be crafted into these variants here. So we have the chiseled variants, the coral stone wall, the slabs and the stairs. And actually, if we actually place this block next to a coral block, which is either vanilla or modded, we're going to see that the colour from the coral is going to find its way into the coral stone. And this works for across all the different colour variants of coral, so all of those ones there, and all vanilla ones as well. So really does spice up the blocks a lot, and I think looks really, really good. Lastly, we move on to items. So here we have the jelly torches, and these unfortunately are not currently obtainable in survival because the creators remove jellyfish, but when they do remove them, all you'll have to do is right click the jellyfish of the colour that you want with a torch, and you'll get yourself some jelly torches here. And these just look amazing. I think these would look really good in like a fun land or something, but in an aquarium or just in any sort of sea setting, these could make a really, really nice light source. And we have, of course, all the different colour variants here. Elder Guardians are now going to drop their spines and their eyes, and what's really cool about the eye actually is if we walk in front of it like this, it's actually going to send off a redstone signal. So as we can see here, walking in front of the eye, it is launching this firework into the sky. If we don't want this to happen, we can just simply right click the eye and we walk in front of it, we'll see that it doesn't work. And I feel like this is almost inspired by the Skulk sensor, which was actually showcased at Minecon last year for the 1.17 Caves and Cliffs update. A really, really cool feature for those of you waiting on Skulk sensors. Hover around and play around with this and see what you can create with it. I think there'd be some interesting redstone creations with this. Similarly with the spine, if we actually step over the little spine block here and we activate it with the redstone signal, it's going to inflict damage and mining fatigue to the victim. And when we remove ourselves from the spine here, the mining fatigue will fade away, but of course this is changed with a redstone signal like so. Really, really cool for some traps and stuff that you might be able to, come up with, but I like this feature quite a lot. We also have a new form of sleeping in the form of bedrolls. Now these are crafted very simply with 5 pieces of leather and any colour of wool of your choice. We can place it down on the floor here, and what's different about this is when you sleep in it, it will not actually set your spawn, which is perfect for adventuring if you don't want to keep setting and resetting your spawn every 5 seconds or when you try to sleep. So that is a nice little addition. Finally, I probably should have included this over there with the spines, but guardians will now drop their spines, and when this is turned on, it will inflict damage upon the victim and slow them down while they're inside it. Again, useful for traps or anything of the sort, which adds a brand new use to your guardian farms in your world. And that is pretty much all the items, blocks, plants and mobs covered for this mod. And with that, we've gone over all of Upgrade Aquatic so far. I really do hope you enjoyed, because I know I did. This mod is really cool, and I just love the Abnormals team, so shout out to them. Your mods really are very, very good. As always, I'll leave the download link below, and if you did enjoy, please consider subscribing and liking the video. If we can hit 100 likes in this video, I'd be really happy, and as always, I hope you guys have a great day, and thanks for checking in.